working with the lawyers that have been in my firm over the years, doing the work that I love to do, which was primarily admiralty law, and living and working in Charleston. I was born here in Charleston on December 2nd, 1930. And if you want to know the truth of it, I'm 83 now, and except for the 13 years that I was in schools and in the service, I've lived within a 10-block radius of where I was born. So, pretty boring life altogether. My father's a lawyer. He wanted me to be a lawyer. I was a very obedient son. I became a lawyer. Well, my father was a marvelous trial lawyer himself. He started practicing here in Charleston in 1925, I think. And when I joined his firm in 1957, he had one partner, Harold Mouzon. Mr. Mouzon had been a partner in the Charleston firm of U.G. Wilbur Miller and Mouzon. And that firm did maritime work. So when I came to the firm in 1957, Mr. Mouzon was getting on in years, and I sat at his feet and learned what I could of maritime law, and then I sort of took over the practice from him and had a wonderful time with it for 40 years, I guess. Well, there are a number of them. The most recent one that stands out, I represented the Diocese of South Carolina and All Saints Parish, Walkermore Episcopal Church in a, would you believe, a 10-year odyssey, trying to prevent a runaway congregation from running away with the church itself and the grounds. We won every fight except the last one, when the South Carolina Supreme Court decided in favor of the runaway congregation. But the interesting thing is now there is a great deal of litigation going on now here in South Carolina, and that case that I lost is the case that's being relied upon by parishes in South Carolina that do not want to remain with the National Episcopal Church. So it had an interesting outcome. We had good lawyers. I was always on the defense side. But it was a situation back then when if a lawyer missed a deadline, if he had to file an answer within X number of days, and something happened and he forgot it, he'd call the plaintiff's lawyer, and he'd say, "I'm sorry, I missed the deadline. Will you accept an answer?" Invariably, the plaintiff's lawyer would say, "Of course I will. Forget it. Just give me an answer when you have a chance." There was one lawyer here who was sort of well-known locally. He would usually give the plaintiff's lawyer the answer on the day of the trial. There were no discovery rules back in those days. You couldn't take a deposition. You couldn't ask any interrogatories. There wasn't any production of documents. So when you went to court to try a case, you had no idea who the witnesses were going to be. And that made it very exciting and a lot of fun, actually, a lot of fun. There were 3 lawyers in the firm, Moore and Mouzon, 1 secretary, although we did have another one who came in a couple of afternoons of the week. And there was the 1 typewriter. And my father loved to dictate. There were no dictating machines. And he would keep that secretary in his office for the morning, dictating to her, while Harold Mouzon and I needed work to be done by her. And then she spent the afternoon typing up what she received from dictation. Anyway, that changed fairly shortly. We got the Selectric typewriter. And as we got more clients, we got more secretaries. Practicing with my father, the firm was Moore and Mouzon. And in 1970, the 5 lawyers in that firm merged with the Bust and Smythe firm to become Bust, Moore, Smythe, McGee. And then in 2010, we merged with Womble, Carlyle, Sandridge, and Rice. And we went from a firm of 48 lawyers to a firm of 550 lawyers. So when you ask me how the practice of law has changed, for me it's been a very dramatic change. We're still obviously a profession, but there's a lot more business involved with it now than it was then. We've got a great bar association. I think we can truthfully say that we have. Well, I'll say we have the best lawyers in South Carolina. Of course we do. So, to that extent, it's been great fun.